A 4-apartment house fire in Troy has left several people without a place to live this morning.
Fire crews tell us it happened just before midnight at 92 6th Avenue.
And that's where we find Carrie Beal this morning. So, Carrie, I know now that we can see a little bit more because the sun is up. Can you describe the damage that was done with this?
Julia, I've been showing the front of the house all morning, and that looks pretty normal. But if you take a look behind me, here's a look at the back of the house. You can see there the porch is in complete ruins. It's charred, it's black, and we also have some video of what this looked like earlier this morning and overnight. Crews were able to put out the fire in just about an hour. As far as the house itself, fire crews say it's not livable right now. So the families that lived inside are without a home at the moment. Red Cross says they are providing housing for 4 adults who lived inside the building and provided emotional support for a child and 2 additional adults. Fire crews say a few animals are still missing from the home, and 1 woman was hospitalized for smoke inhalation. Everyone else made it out safely, and no firefighters were injured.
The report came in that there was people trapped in the building, but that proved to be false. When we arrived on the scene, everyone had self-extricated. It's under investigation at this point. We don't know what cause.
None of the houses surrounding this one that burned were touched at all by the fire, so fire crews did a really good job of containing it just to one house. Also, they say that they don't think the house needs to be demolished. It is salvageable. And also earlier this morning, I tweeted a photo of a cat that was hanging out on the porch. It was there for about an hour. And if you go on my Twitter page at CBS6 Carrie Beal, you can see a picture of that cat. Again, we mentioned some animals were missing in this house. And if it's yours and you live in this house, just want to let you know that that cat is okay. Reporting live in Troy, Carrie Beal, CBS6 News.
6:01 and new this morning, a no-fly ban to and from the U.S. and Istanbul Ataturk Airport has been lifted. But additional police officers are now being sent to airports in New York City and New Jersey after terror in Turkey. We're taking a live look at the Ataturk International Airport right now. This is where 3 suicide bombers created a ton of chaos and terror. So far, no group has claimed responsibility, but Turkey's prime minister suspects it was an attack by ISIS. The airport rather is back open this morning. All air traffic has returned to normal. Now, don't be alarmed if you're traveling and you notice some officers with tactical weapons. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey say officers will be patrolling JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark airports. Officials are continuing to monitor the situation overseas after Turkey's government says at least 36 people are dead and more than 145 others hurt. Leaders across Europe, including NATO Secretary General, condemn the horrific attacks, offering their condolences to the victims and their families. And speaking from Aspen, Secretary of State John Kerry says attacks like these are a sign the militant group is getting weaker.
We have to get it right 24/7, 365. They have to get it right for 10 minutes or 1 hour. If you're desperate and if you know you're losing and you know you want to give up your life, then obviously you can do some harm.
The Istanbul governor confirms 3 suicide bombers fired guns and detonated bombs at the airport. Again, no terror group has claimed responsibility, but Turkish and U.S. officials say signs do point to ISIS.
And you were talking about if anyone out there watching this morning is traveling and they do see upped security at the airports, just know that there's a reason for that. Of course, it's the ripple effect from this.
All right, something we'll stay on top of for you this morning, as well as everything happening out in Troy with Carrie Beal. In the meantime, we also want to get a check of your forecast with meteorologist Craig Gold.
Hey, good morning, Jack. And look who's decided to join us. The sun now coming out. We should see a decent amount of it today, but that's not to say we're going to be completely dry. 64 degrees outside right now. We do expect to see the redevelopment of some showers by about lunchtime and perhaps a couple of heavier downpours, maybe even a rumble of thunder later this afternoon. They'll be widely scattered. Not everybody's going to get them. We do wind up topping out right around 80 degrees. Do we need the umbrellas for July 4th weekend? I'll address that with my latest thoughts on whether or not you can have some good barbecuing and fireworks weather when I come back in a few. Here's check your traffic right now.
All right, Craig, thanks. We're on Route 7 at Miller Road, looking away from Troy, actually. So we're looking toward the west with westbound traffic on the right-hand side. Either way you're going, it looks good out there on Route 7, east and westbound traffic, moving along with no major problems. And we are accident and incident-free across the capital region. That's your CBS 6 Eye on Traffic.
That's what we like to hear, Jack. Thanks. The ballots have been counted, and this morning we have the results of who voters in New York's 19th district have chosen as their party's congressional nominee to succeed Chris Gibson. For the Democrats, it's Zephyr Teachout, who primaried Governor Cuomo in 2014, over Livingston Town Board member Will Yandick. With 95% of the 508 precincts reporting in just after midnight, Teachout had 71% of the vote. Now, as for the Republicans, former Assembly Minority Leader John Faso, who ran unsuccessfully in the past for governor, took home the win against Andrew Heaney with 67% of the vote. Last night, Heaney said that he was grateful for all the support that he got and spoke with Faso over the phone, saying, quote, "We need desperately change in the culture in Washington, and I want to wish John well in his next challenge." Now, there was a voting problem yesterday. It was a bit of a ballot issue that happened in Columbia County. Ballots were given out featuring a third GOP candidate's name, Bob Bishop, who actually dropped out last month. County commissioners say as soon as they got word of the problem, every polling place was informed.
This affects about 800 ballots countywide, which is about 15 to 20 per district. Some districts it's as low as 0. Some districts are slightly higher.
The correct ballots were delivered 2 hours after the polls opened. In a statement last night, Republican candidate Andrew Heaney asked the State Board of Elections to investigate this.
This morning, we now know the name of the 16-year-old killed at Post and Kill Gorge. Police say 16-year-old Connor Reynolds died yesterday when he slipped off a cliff hiking with his friends. When he fell, he hit his head and eventually drowned before first responders could pull him out of the water. Troy police say the gorge has been a popular swimming hole for years, but there is a high risk for accidents.
There's a big spot where we cliff jump, and if you swim too deep or you go under, you get trapped under there. If you go too high up the waterfall, it's really slippery.
Troy police just want to remind visitors of the dangers at Post and Kill Gorge and that swimming and climbing are not allowed.
Happening today, the Red Cross is teaming up with the SUNY Student Assembly to host a blood drive honoring the 49 victims of the Orlando shooting. Melissa Lee is joining us now with the details on this. And Melissa, a little bit more about the message behind today's drive.
Julia, that's right. In the aftermath of the nightclub shooting, when hundreds of people lined up to give blood, some were turned away because of current FDA regulations. Now, those regulations permit some members of the LGBT community from donating blood. Now, the students at SUNY are advocating for a change to that policy. Already, students have passed a resolution calling for blood donation equality. They hope today's blood drive will be a display of dedication and solidarity with the LGBT community.
So you have to be 16 years old with parental permission or 17 years old on your own. You bring a bottle of water and have a good breakfast. Come ready to support the cause and show your support for the LGBT plus community and those in need.
Today's blood drive will be at the UAlbany Campus Center Assembly Hall. It starts at 9 o'clock this morning. It's going to last until 1:30. Stewart Shops, they've teamed up with SUNY Student Assembly, and they're going to hand out coupons to donors for free ice cream. So give blood, then get some ice cream. Free parking also going to be available in the Indian Quad Visitors Lot.
Melissa, thanks. As the water contamination crisis continues to affect local areas, tonight, Vermont's DEC and the Department of Health is holding a meeting in Bennington to give residents an update on what's going on. People in both Bennington and North Bennington are being encouraged to go to this meeting, which will be at Bennington College. The meeting will focus on extending municipal drinking water lines for people whose private wells have been contaminated by PFOA. More than 200 private wells have been found with high levels of this chemical. The state will also give updates on blood test clinics and water sampling results. If you'd like to attend again, the meeting starts 5:30 tonight at Bennington College's Center for the Advancement of Public Action. A quick traffic alert this morning if you're going in the Rotterdam area tonight, because starting at 7 p.m., paving work will begin on a half-mile stretch of Burdeck Street. This specifically is between Mariahville Road and Dwaynesburg Road. The paving will be happening each weeknight from 7 at night to 7 in the morning. During these hours, traffic will be reduced to a single alternating lane. The DOT expects work to finish up in 2 weeks.
Happening tonight, a vigil will be held for Rachel Mattice. She's the 24-year-old who's been missing out of Wells since late last week. Tonight at 7, family and friends will be holding that vigil at 172 Hernandez Road. That's the exact spot where Rachel was last seen. Today, crews will be back out, still looking for any sign of her. Right now, the Hamilton County Sheriff says authorities are questioning friends and acquaintances, trying to figure out any reason for her disappearance.
In New York, legislation regarding rape kit processing is heading to Governor Cuomo's desk. The bill requires police to submit kits containing DNA evidence to labs within 10 days of collecting it. This legislation also requires labs to process evidence within 90 days and calls for clearing any backlog of the evidence kits. Some reports suggest many police precincts have kits on their shelves that could solve crimes and exonerate innocent people.
In Massachusetts, a bill that would let people break car windows to free pets trapped in hot cars is on its way to the House. The bill states the person would first have to see if the door is locked, make an effort to find a police officer or call 911 before they would be legally allowed to break the window as a last resort. Yesterday, the bill was approved unanimously by the Senate.
6:10, another Baltimore police officer about to go before a judge, or will he? The latest twist in the Freddie Gray trials.
And waiting on 911 tapes, the holdup in releasing audio from the Orlando nightclub shooting.
It's more like a painting than a sky cam here. A little bit of ground fog right there. Sun punching through the clouds. We're going to wind up with a fairly okay day, but we're not completely dry. I'll talk about when you may need the umbrellas. And I've got my latest thoughts for you for the upcoming July 4th weekend. Stick around.